Good evening, angels. Guess what? It's the start of a new year. I adore New Year's. An opportunity to celebrate a fresh start, renewal, anew. Of course, we can do that every single day, every month, every week, every day, every hour. There are opportunities in every moment to make adjustments, to have resolutions, to start fresh. However, the spirit and the celebration of the new year is very exciting to me anyways, and I would love to share with that in you and kick off that celebration by casting some positive affirmations, some positive intentions that I think are fairly universal and applicable to so many of us. Is it all right if I reach out for you from time to time? Thank you. Thank you. So, Angel, I think that you are capable of amazing things, of wonderful things. I think that you have so much potential, unlocked potential, and existing potential. And I'm not just talking about that which we can see as accomplishments on a resume, on a CV, things that might be a laundry list of accomplishments that we might think of as typical. I got this education, this job, this many followers on social media, this many muscles on my body. But I think that you've accomplished things by being here, by being present, by making it. You know, life can be challenging, and there's a lot of things that we have swam our way through. There's a lot of beautiful challenges, and yet there are challenges that were difficult to get through, and we're here. And I want to commend you for that. And I want to let you know that because you've made it this way, there's more to go. You've got more in you. And I think that's exciting. So that means that there will be inevitable challenges to come. And you have the fortitude, the strength. You have the ability to keep going, to keep moving in all of your potential. And I think that's very exciting. So in that, you have immense potential to grow. What are your dreams, Angel? What are your aspirations? Who do you want to be? How do you want to expand and grow into yourself, grow into your next self? When I think about it, I don't recognize so much the person I was 10 years ago. I know of that person, but I'm different than I am now. That person contributed to who I am today, and I wouldn't be surprised if you're similar. You know, I know some of us believe in reincarnation. I like to think that reincarnation can almost be something we experience within the lifetime we're aware of at the present. We reinvent ourselves. We become different. We grow. We change. We move. We adopt different values and habits and friendships and relationships. We might make career paths or pick up different hobbies, have different mind frames, different ways of thinking about the world. We shed and we take on, we build. And I think you are absolutely capable, absolutely able to grow into the person that you want to be next. And I think it's okay to acknowledge who we are now, what we have accomplished, and to be kind to ourselves about it, to look upon ourselves in a friendly way. There might have been things that we are not happy with, and that's okay. It is, I think, a bit inherent in us to want to strive towards something else. That doesn't make you unusual or weird. I think that's normal. But it's also, I think, finding a balance of the here and now and the future. Because if we're always living in the past or we're always living in the future, we're bound to feel a lot of friction. There's probably a balance of reflecting on what's happened and taking lessons from this and thinking about the future and aiming towards something. So let's work on that together. Who do you want to be? Don't worry about it being New Year's, but in this moment, think about how you want to think and how you want to show up. That's what I'm concerned about. What do we want to do in this moment? Because as much as there can be circumstances that are outside of our control, things that we were born into, or things that are happening around us that are difficult, or that just appear to be, what can we do in our internal space, our internal environment, to grow into the person we want to be, to cultivate the environment that we wish to have. Internal environment can be very important. I think you're capable of experiencing laughter this year, joy, even if it's reminiscing on the past. But angels, we have a lot of excitement and anticipation. In anticipation, there's a lot of dopamine release when we think about what is to come. If we have plans and dreams, when we're working towards something, we start to release those feel-good chemicals, those feel-good neurotransmitters that get us excited. It's like the night leading up to a very exciting event, to something that you've been looking forward to. That might be the most sparkly and enjoyable night of all, day of all, the very, very peak leading up to it, the heightened experience and pleasure that you might feel. The actual experience of it itself is also enjoyable. You know, when we get to bite into the chocolate, or we see the person that we've made plans with, or we accomplish a goal that we've been working towards. These things are exciting, absolutely, but the journey of it, the process, is also very enjoyable. And frankly, that is something that I want to work on more this year, to stop being so stubborn and worrying so much about who I need to be, blah, 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 down the road, but who I am right now. And as long as I'm aligning myself moment to moment, day to day, the small things, that I think counts for a lot. So even if a day is you're swamped, made 5 minutes for something that you're aspiring to, I'm trying to take better stock of those wins. And I encourage you to do the same. I think you're capable of some profound self-reflection. And there's so many layers to this, Angel. But I think when we take moments to really, really think on what's happened, what is happening, what we'd like to happen, where we'd like to go, and really looking at our own accountability and responsibility in circumstances. I'm not talking about injustices. I'm talking about how are we reacting to bring out the best in ourselves. And I'm not talking about being a doormat either in some circumstances. Maybe that's funny that that's the first thing that comes to my mind. It might mean standing up for ourselves. It might mean giving ourselves more space before we react to a situation. It might mean giving ourselves more time for rest, more time for health, more time for our relationships, less time doing things that don't serve us. And when we really think about it and we're really getting honest with ourselves, that can be useful. This quality of self-reflection, I think, really gives us a leg up. It really helps us to present at our best. And self-reflection, I really want to emphasize the building aspect of it rather than breaking down. Self-reflection to make us better rather than to diminish us. Even if there's qualities that we want to adjust, that's perfectly normal. That's perfectly reasonable. And they're equally valid. Are qualities I think that we ought to embrace, that we ought to feel grateful for, and to want to work on even further, to bring out in ourselves. What are some things that you know that other people notice or that we enjoy about ourselves that we can enhance, or rather that we can allow to flourish and bring out? I think those are worthy questions to ask. And in terms of aspiring, I mentioned that already, but I think you are capable of dreaming daringly, of dreaming very big dreams, that you have an infinite imagination, that you have so much at your fingertips, and that can be applied in so many different ways. And in terms of the new year, I think in terms of setting out, if you wish, resolutions or goals, using that imagination, dream big and dream. So dream big, but also how can you make that a reality in your day-to-day? Use your imagination even for the mundane. Can we turn on the music to do the dishes? Can we turn chores into a dance party? Can we start to bring games to what might be otherwise uncomfortable dinners, or have icebreakers that we bring with us? Although it might sound corny, I've had a lot of success with that. It can be handy to come prepared in a sense. That might sound forced, but I like to have a bit of a bag packed, so to speak, of things to pull out. I'm learning more and more it can be useful to bring fun and entertainment and games in a sense, even if it's just a paper and pen. But if it's also what can we do in this time, in this moment, to have fun? So this is silly. I was proud of myself for being spontaneous, but I was at a family get together, family and friends for New Year's, and I just thought it would be fun to see if I could do a plank against someone else. So being on your hands and kicking your feet, but you're pushing your feet against the other person's feet. So you're in plank position, and then feet are pushing against. I don't know if that's physically possible, but or even if you're reclined on your on your elbows, and then you try to make a plank by touching your feet to the other person's. It's ridiculous. You're trying to make a bridge, basically, and none of us were successful. And then that went from that to making a human pyramid that was safe, because none of us are gymnasts. Don't want to be too silly. So 3 people lining up and one person doing the Little Mermaid on top of us, and just adding some silliness and some fun to everyday situations. It's bringing in our inner child, or bringing out our inner child, but that's an example of being silly and bringing some fun. Where can you dream and have some wildness, some freedom in your day-to-day? Is it designing your space to be visually appealing for you? Is it doing something and making a list of surprises for people that you love? If it's a mission that you're wanting to do one nice thing for people that are close to you, or for someone who you care about in your community, and not to receive anything back, but just to experience the anticipation and excitement of surprising them, doing something that you know that they'll appreciate, or that you're pretty confident anyways. I've had good success with that, and it's brought a lot of joy for me. So how can you bring fun in the day-to-day and make time for it? And I think we're all very much capable of that. As the years go by and I grow in age, I find that it's no less important to bring in some dreaming and fun and inspiration into day-to-day life, because we take on more and more responsibility, and there's a lot of things that can be tedious and technically unfun, not fun. So there's ways that we can maneuver to add a bit of spice, a bit of wonder to our day-to-day, some magic. I absolutely encourage that and applaud those efforts. So I want to mention, Angel, that if you are struggling in this time, because I've mentioned a bunch of happy things, it's also completely and worthwhile to reach out for help from healthcare providers and from those around us. It's okay if we're not feeling the most sparkly at the moment to reach out. I myself, I get assistance. I've seen a counselor for many years, and when I need to, and it can be just, it doesn't have to be life-shattering events. It can be things that I wish to process, and that can be helpful. And for you, help might not look like that with a counselor. It could be a trusted community member, a friend, a family member, a community board. It can be speaking with your healthcare provider and looking at healthcare solutions that are applicable to you, especially if we're feeling really low. That can be incredibly helpful, even if it's a short-term solution and you revisit with your provider. I think those things, you are capable of resourcefulness. You are very capable of leaning in to our community. That's what we're here for. You know, we're not islands. We function by helping each other, by serving each other. And so I don't think complete isolation is a good idea. That's just me. I know there's this culture of going away and disappearing for 6 months, and I shouldn't say culture, there's this movement I've seen in social media to go disappear. And I think maybe they're meaning don't post on socials, but I actually don't know if they mean really, really isolate. And maybe that works for some, but I tend to find that leaning in a way where we're asking for what we need, and also building our reserves, our self-sufficiency, those things can be compatible. So wanted to make that statement at the end, because I know we're all going to be in different places at different times. So, well, Happy New Year, Angel. I'm sending you all the very best wishes. I'm wishing you the best year, yeah. And I'm wishing you growth, positive challenges, happiness. Thank you for spending some time here. Wishing you well. I'm wishing you well.